we did max it out. Our mill rate was no, it went up. That's it.
You're the clerk. I'm just.
Yeah, I know. I just looked at it and I said to myself, that seems
I know.
Who's coming? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Call the Town Council meeting to order for Tuesday, April 17th, 2018 at 7:02 p.m. Start first with salute to the flag. Roll call.
Mayor Duty.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni.
Here.
Councilor Candelora.
Yeah.
Councilor Diamond.
Here.
Councilor Fawnin.
Here.
Councilor Miller.
here.
Councilor Rose.
Here.
Councilor Biglione.
Here.
And Councilor Zampiano.
Motion to approve the previous minutes for March 27, 2018 budget workshop.
So moved.
Second.
Corrections? Roll call?
Mayor Duty.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni.
Yes.
Councilor Candelora.
Yes.
Councilor Diamond.
Yes.
Councilor Fawnin. Councilor Miller.
Here, yes.
Councilor Rose.
Yes.
Councilor Biglione.
Yes.
Okay, motion to approve the minutes of the April 3rd, 2018 special town council meeting.
So moved. Second.
Corrections? Roll call?
Mayor Duty.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni.
Yes.
Councilor Candelora.
Yes.
Councilor Diamond.
Yes.
Councilor Fawnin.
Yes.
Councilor Miller.
Yes.
Councilor Rose.
Yes.
Councilor Biglione.
Yes.
Councilor Zampiano. Is absent.
Okay, and motion to approve the April 3rd, 2018 public hearing on the budget fiscal year 2018-2019.
So moved.
Second.
Corrections? Roll call?
Mayor Duty.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni.
Yes.
Councilor Candelora.
Yes.
Councilor Diamond.
Yes.
Councilor Fawnin.
Yes.
Councilor Miller.
Yes.
Councilor Rose.
Yes.
Councilor Biglione.
Yes.
And final, last motion to approve the minutes of the April 4th, 2018 budget workshop.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, any corrections? Roll call?
Mayor Duty.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni.
Yes.
Councilor Candelora.
Yes.
Councilor Diamond.
Yes.
Councilor Fawnin.
Yes.
Councilor Miller.
Yes.
Councilor Rose.
Yes.
Councilor Biglione.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, there was at our desk, and I don't know, they were sent out this morning, but they were the minutes of our budget workshop from April 10th. So since one of the actions on the agenda is that we have to revise, vote again on the budget and the referendum question because of the error, I just wanted to know what everyone's opinion was, if they wanted to review and vote on the minutes tonight or put them to the next meeting.
I'd like to put them to the next meeting. I didn't have a chance to look through them very well.
Okay.
We'll table those to the next meeting. I'll make a motion to table those.
But
I'll
they're
make
not on the agenda, so it doesn't.
All right.
All right, moving to the regular town council meeting, reports of committees, boards, and commissions.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, please, to move
from the new business agenda, item A, and place it on reports and commissions, committee and commissions number 3, and appear as 3J, the report of the Dan Cosgrove shelter.
I'll second that.
3G?
3J.
3J.
Okay. Second?
Marie
Already
second.
seconded. Discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Candelora,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose,
Yes.
Counselor Viglione,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda and add an item under 8E. And it's in reference to the budget. So I'm just gonna label it, 2018-19 budget.
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Could you say that again?
It's in regards to the budget for next year, the 2018-19 budget. And it's in regards to the special ed excess cost grant.
Second.
Any
Anthony had seconded.
discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Candelora,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose,
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, since we're doing motions to amend the agenda, might as well do mine now. I'd like to make a motion to add 9M under new business, Police Commission bylaws.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Candelora,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose,
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Anything else? Seeing nothing else, we'll move on to reports of boards, committees, and commissions. Economic Development Commission.
There was no meeting since the last one.
Thank you. Park and Recreation Commission.
They meet next week, April 24th.
Police Commission.
The Police Commission met on April 9th. In addition to the chief's monthly report, the commission has developed a draft of bylaws, which I just mentioned in my motion. The commission also reviewed a draft of changes to road construction work, and I think Mike probably will talk about that a little more because it will require town council approval. The commission made a decision to have GPS placed on all police vehicles, which requires another 5 GPS. A thank you letter was presented to Chief Stewart for his support of the police department. The commission will soon also start interviews of all lateral applicants. Vacation and personal days for all officers were reviewed. A grievance letter from the town attorney's review was discussed and decision made to send it to the Ethics Commission. And there was a presentation with options presented by the architects for the police facility. And that's it. Long agenda.
All right. Fire Commission. Fire Commission met last Thursday and went over a lot of the reports that the chief filled out, and they're gonna purchase some iPads for the rescue trucks, will help with their data collection. At present time, the records management system that they're using doesn't collect that data, so they're gonna do that. They went over where the cuts would be in the fire department budget. They went over PPE equipment for coats and rescue gear. And that was basically about it. Next is Board of Education and Town Council Subcommittee.
There's no meeting.
Town Planning Goals Subcommittee.
Town Planning Goals Subcommittee meeting will be on May 15th at 6:15.
Public Safety Communications Committee.
No meeting.
Planning and Zoning Commission.
I may need George's help on this. They had a long meeting, and so they're having a public hearing about the property at the Dollar General, looking to add or not add more commercial space. I believe they approved the dog training facility on, over at the horse farm over there off Totoka and Auger
That's
Road.
right.
They, let's see, the applicant withdrew his application to have farm events such as weddings and things of the sort in the residential zone on farms. And what else, George?
That did it.
Okay.
Next is East Shore Health Department.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, I had sent you an email.
Yes.
Unfortunately, with scheduling, those meetings are during the day and it conflicts with work, so I think we're going to have to see if we can appoint someone to get that.
Okay. Dan Cosgrove Shelter.
Good evening. Just to give you a quick account of what's going on over at the shelter, as usual, we are quite at capacity over there with 12 adult dogs, 8 little puppies, 25 cats, and a bunch of other little critters. We continue to fundraise on a regular basis, and we added another week of animal camp for this summer, making that 7 weeks of animal camp to increase the amount of revenue that we're bringing in. We have reading to the animals that's happening every Thursday night over there, where it's a really great opportunity for kids in the community to come in and read to the animals. It increases the kids' ability to read without hesitation and without feeling embarrassed, and it also benefits the animals as well. So that's been a tremendously successful program that's been kind of all over the media recently. The one thing I was asked by the animal control officers over at Cosgrove to share tonight was to extend their appreciation to the North Branford community for all the support that they give towards the shelter and the animals, and especially to the police, fire, dispatch, and public works. The animal control officers always feel appreciated and supported, and the police especially go out of their way with the animals. If there's an animal hit by a car, they have no problem performing CPR right in the middle of the road. A lot of districts and a lot of towns don't do that, so the animal control officers wanted to make sure that North Branford knows how much they're appreciated, as well as the compassionate dispatchers that they work with on a regular basis. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, Town Manager's Report. Report on condition of Stanley T. Williams roof.
Yeah, I have a memo in your packet. I just wanted to give you an update on the roof, and I supplied you with a quote from Eagle Rivet, most recently in the Garland Group, and I do want to clarify and just restate the memo. This is just to bring to your attention, no action needed at this point, and obviously I have some information, old information. Obviously the Garland Group report is from 2016, and the Eagle Rivet is a more recent, and of course we would re-quote this if the council's interested in looking at this. I'm just putting it on your radar as something that could possibly be addressed at the May, and maybe not even the May 1st meeting, but the 2nd meeting in May, allowing us more time to get those quotes to take a look at a short-term repair, and also look, obviously, at getting this on the capital plan for a long-term. But the Garland Group report, I think, will give you a sort of a sense of long-term, if we go for the roof replacement, what those costs are. It's just food for thought at this point.
Since you're on roofs, how'd we do yesterday at the intermediate school with the roof?
We had 1 week, excuse me, 1 leak that I'm aware of. I have not heard back from Bill Chody. That was yesterday afternoon, just as the rains were subsiding. And sometimes we have some pooling issues, and/or infiltration that takes more time. So I did not get that report today, but as of yesterday, one room, one leak that we're aware of. So it's, and again, as you can appreciate, it was one of those rains with a high wind and directional. So it might give us more information in trying to detect where
We
that.
don't know if it was one of the ones we thought we fixed.
I think it's one that we've been trying to fix for some time. 301, I believe it was.
Okay.
So it's on the top floor there. So he's working on it. I'll try and get a report from him tomorrow.
Mike, just reviewing just quickly a little bit, like around one of the drains, it said there's vegetation. Is there some type of maintenance schedule where we're taking care of the drains, or, 'cause I know that's been an issue in the past.
Yeah, I don't know to what frequency they're up on the roof at all,
Yeah.
but I can certainly make an inquiry tomorrow and check in with both sides. And I'm not sure how they work that out
Yeah.
between the Board of Ed and the rec, but I'll check with. I'll check
I
with-
just know with those flat top roofs, I know how important those drains are. Thank you.
So if there's no if it's, I think it's, I would recommend we do a short-term fix. I think it's something we can take out of contingency, and I'd like to put together and go out and look, if that's the case, if the council does not disagree, that we at least get quotes on it, find out. It doesn't cost us anything to do that, and just try and get some quotes for fixing and shoring it up.
I would be in favor of fixing it because it's not in capital for the next year, and if we can get another year or
Couple,
two
yeah, right.
out of it so that we can get it into the plan, then that would be great.
Great, okay.
Next is update on underground storage tank at Stanley T. Williams.
Yeah, so I also put another memo in your packet, just to let you know that Public Works, I want to thank Public Works and the fire marshal for working on this, to get that out of there and getting tested. We're just waiting on the samples from the testing facility. Once we have that, then we can send the forms back to the state and hopefully close off that file that they have for that.
Next is update on draft language for construction work requirement.
Yes, so this is, as something I mentioned to you, been working on, and Counselor Diamond alluded to, that there's draft language in there. The police commission would like to take a look at construction work. In this case, it's the work above, in the right-of-way above, and basically the lines, the cable companies, utilities, and so forth doing work, so they have some language there. The issue I have is that the town attorney, I think, has seen it, but the town engineer, Kurt Weiss, also would like us to take a look at the road standards. So I've included that in there, and that is much lengthier, and I'm not sure the council wants to tie both together, or if you want to separate out the police commission request first. But the problem is, they're all in the same section of the charter in terms of section 201-18, work within rights of way. So they kind of go hand in hand. And obviously, it's an ordinance process that would take a public hearing. So if there's no objection, or if you want to digest this and look at it next, give me your opinion on the next meeting, we can go forward next meeting.
You said the town attorney has reviewed it?
He has only looked, he was present for the meeting at the police commission, so he has looked at the proposal for the language for the utilities, if you will, but not the road standards. So that'll take some time.
And next item is community events presentations, proclamation for NatureWorks. I have a proclamation from the town of North Branford, NatureWorks, where Nancy DeBura Clemente, founder and owner of NatureWorks, and a dedicated member of the business community in North Branford since 1983, when she opened the shop. And whereas NatureWorks is dedicated to cultivating native plants to attract birds and butterflies to their amazing garden creations, they also are good at giving back to the community and helping those in need, especially the Smith Library. and Nancy and her guardian crew have developed a great affection for the Smith Library, and they've generously supplied and maintained all the plants and shrubs at the Smith Library grounds for many seasons. Whereas we recognize the efforts of NatureWork and their employees who serve the town and local community unselfishly, and they make our town full of life colors with their plants. Now therefore, let it be known that I, Michael J. Duty, on behalf of the North Branford Town Council and residents of the town of North Branford, complain Tuesday, April 17th, 2018, as NatureWorks Day in North Branford.
Thank you so much. I never had a day before.
Well, you got a day now.
Thank you so much. It's our pleasure. Oh, yeah, sure. Wait till my staff hears this, Carol. Carol's involved in this. She came up with this idea, and if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be working on the library. So, she'll like this. Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I would just like to mention that this Saturday at Wall Field is opening day for Little League, and it is also going to be, Has Waste Committee is doing a big Earth Day celebration also, and they will have tents down there with Earth Day activities in conjunction with the Little League opening day. They are going to be there from 9 to 3 also, and that's at Wall Field on Route 22.
Next item, citizen statements, petitions, and correspondence. Moving to resignations and appointments. Resignation of Carolyn Candelora from the Pension Committee as a Board of Education alternate. And resignation of Carol Davidson from the Library Board. Moving to unfinished business, discussion and action, approval of proposed ordinance 2017-1, Chapter 40, entitled Fire Department Fees. That's tabled till July. Next is future budget planning initiative.
I have no information.
Next is review of ethics ordinance.
Since our regular town attorney is not here tonight, I'm going to defer on this because I had a few questions for him in regards to information.
Next is review of Board of Education rules of policies and procedures.
I believe we have to wait for our attorney to be back. He did speak with the board attorney, so hopefully he'll have a report on that.
Okay, next is budget 2018-2019 ECS grant.
Well, it's not the ECS grant, it's the special ed excess cost grant. And in doing some research in regards to motions that have been made regarding the budgets for the last 5 or 6 years, I noticed that in our 2016-17, when we were doing the budget for that year, the motion was made and seconded that the Board of Ed would receive a $300,000 budget increase for that year, and they would also receive the special ed excess cost grant up to $165,000. And I asked Anthony today to go through for the last 6 years to get the excess cost grant, because that is money that comes into the town, because the Board of Ed funds their special ed cost at 100%. The special ed excess cost grant is a formula that the state has. So if your special ed costs are approximately 4.5 times the cost of a regular ed student, the town gets that money back. But because the Board of Ed budgets special education costs at 100%, that money just comes over to the town side. That year in 2016-17, the motion was made that the Board of Ed would receive that money, even though they had fully funded special ed. So the amount of money that came in that year on the special ed excess cost grant was $149,122. So I would like to make a motion that we allocate $149,122 to the Board of Ed for their 2018-19 budget.
Second.
And that will come out of the fund balance, because that's where the money goes.
Second.
Discussion?
Okay, so now the discussion is,
Anthony, can you just clarify where that leaves us with the fund balance and what the total deduction will be for this year?
It's this one, right?
Should be 900,000.
12.26%.
After the 149 comes out, plus the 750 we've
Total,
already.
right, 799, 899, 122 proposed to come out. We were at 7.19 beginning of the year, brings us down to about 6.2. Out of the 50 million budget, it's about 12%.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. Roll call? Roll call?
When does that grant come in? It's already here. It's already here.
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni,
yes.
Counselor Candelora,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose.
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Okay, since we're still on budget for 2018-19, also in my research and in talking to our state rep, the legislature has passed a law, and this has been on the books for that the Board of Ed we can establish an account for the Board of Education up to 1% of their budget. So on their current year budget, that would be approximately $300,000. So any money that they give back to the town at the end of the fiscal year, which they generally do give money back every year, I would like to make a motion that any money that is given back get established into this account, this 1% account, that can be used by the Board of Education. It is also an account that is, it does not go away. So if the board puts $200,000 in there, they only use $100,000. That $100,000 stays in there. It's designated for the Board of Ed. They can use it for operating, they can use it for capital. They just have to let the town council know what they're using it for. So my motion would be that we establish the 1% account for the 2018-19 budget year, and any money that the Board of Education gives back to the town at the end of this fiscal year goes into that account.
Second.
Are there any restrictions on the money that, in that account, the use of that money? Are there any restrictions?
No, I talked to Vinnie, and he said it can be used for capital or operating. And it's 1% right now. There is it passed the House, I believe, last week, that it can go up to 2%. But right now, what's on the books is 1%.
Okay, so it still hasn't completed.
So that 2%, they have not increased it to 2% yet. We did do this a few years ago with the Board of Ed, and we put money in there for them to use, and so we have done it in the past.
So this would begin next year,
Well, it would be for the 18-19, starting with next year's budget.
for next
correct.
year's budget.
So when they.
So if there's money left over from next year's budget, they can hold on to it up to
No,
1%.
for this, in the current year, the 17-18 budget, so when they finish in June, then they do their line item transfers generally in July, and there's a portion, there's generally money that's left that they give back to the town.
Okay, up to 1%.
And so you can have up to 1%
Okay.
in that account.
But you're saying it's a possibility that it could change to 2%.
Right, but right now, it's 1%. So that's,
Okay.
so it'd be up to $300,000. And part of my reasoning for this in going through and looking at their line item transfers, last year, and we all received this information from the board when we had asked them for it. When they did their line item transfers last year, they had almost $500,000 that they took out of their benefit account and transferred into other accounts at the end of the year. And use that, some of that money was for unbudgeted items. So my thinking is that it's the middle of April, so they still have 2.5 months that they can look at their budget and see items that they would use money for them in various accounts that weren't budgeted, and maybe they would want to look at that and put it into this account for next year. So it's a way to look at their budget and see what they wanted to do with it. Because so when you look at that and you see those types of transfers out of accounts into accounts that weren't budgeted, that is, and I will say this because I know it's been out there as to why did people vote against the increase, a 0% increase? These are things that I personally, this is my reasoning, no one else's. Those are things that I look at in the budget. And when I see those types of things going into areas that were not budgeted, then I know that they have that money in this year's budget also. Because they got more this year than what they took out the year before.
Has this been discussed with Board of Ed? Is this something that they want,
What, the one?
this type of account?
Well, if they don't want it, I mean, if they don't give any money back, then nothing goes into the account.
I can't imagine they wouldn't want it.
But it's an option for the Board of Ed
That's something new.
to use. So if they feel strongly about some item that they want to purchase, so they put, it's kind of like a savings account then. They want to do something, so they can put money into the account and then say, all right, we have enough money, we're going to use it for this.
So they can use it as a deferral.
Right, it's kind of like our reserve accounts for Public Works and Fire Department.
Okay.
Next
And it's a
item.
discussion that the board can have.
We're gonna vote on
Yeah.
Who's the keeper of an account like that?
It's
Is
on
it
the,
Anthony or is it on the board side?
It's town.
it's on the
It's on
town
the
side.
town side?
So,
We did it, I think it was 11, 12, or
Yeah.
several years ago we did it, we have done this before.
Right,
and then we would get a accounting over it every
Right.
so often.
right.
Roll call?
Mayor Duty.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni.
Yes,
Counselor Candelora.
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin.
Yes.
Counselor Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Rose.
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Next item is review position of police chief organizational structure. I'm still waiting for some information from Mike on that, and the town attorney's not here, so we'll table that till our next meeting. Next is review approval. I'm gonna wanna make a motion to table it.
I'll make a motion to table
Second.
item,
9B.
item B, 9B.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Candelora,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose,
Yes.
and Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Next is review and approval of State Historic Preservation Survey and Planning Grant Application and Resolution.
Yeah, this is the opportunity we were looking at to designate or to get a grant to look at the Auger House. So the resolution there is actually just the second paragraph, and then obviously the application is in, the full application is in there as well in your packet. But before you take any action, I would ask, I am gonna pull, I got a little ahead of myself, and I'm gonna have to ask you to pull, we're gonna pull page 15 in the application. That is supposed to be labeled draft and not in there. It's a questionnaire that is something I'd like to propose when we do our updates and affirmative action and so forth. So it's a page I'm gonna have to pull out, or ask you to pull out. Otherwise, it's ready to go. So I would we would just need the, I guess, to handle the resolution, which is the language in the middle of the paragraph on the page labeled certified resolution, and then the application comes behind it.
Oh, it's before that.
I'd like to make a motion in regards to the historical
Oh, I see it.
preservation grant application and resolution. Here be it hereby resolved that Michael T. Paulus, Town Manager for the Town of North Branford, is hereby authorized to execute, sign, and deliver in the name and on behalf of the Town of North Branford and Town Council any and all contracts with the State of Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development State Historic Preservation Office related to grants for the Auger family farm property.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Candelora,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose,
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Next is bid award number 13, 2017-2018 manhole valuation adjustments.
Yeah, there is a packet in the folder that Tobacco and Son Builders is the low bidder, and a memo from Kurt Weiss, engineer, about the reference checks for that low bidder.
I would like to make a motion to award bid number 13-207/218 manhole elevation adjustment to Tobacco and Son Builders of Bristol, Connecticut, for a cost of $45,625.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Candelora,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose,
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Our next item is the bid award, RFP number 2, 2018-2019, certified EMT and licensed paramedic ambulance personnel.
There's a memo again in your packet. Vintech is the current provider and low bidder.
Somebody want to make that motion?
Well, how do you determine low bidder when they have different pricing? Some years they're lower and some years they're higher than the other one. So how is it determined that they're the low bidder?
I believe that was, well, the
Maybe Chief
information I
Stewart
had.
could-
Yeah, Chief Stewart is present. Could shed some light on that.
Good evening. As I addressed the Board of Fire Commissioners the other night, and keeping in mind that we staff the ambulance with a Vintech paramedic and either a Vintech or a pay-per-call EMT, what we're primarily concerned with here is the pay rate for paramedics. So based upon that, we look at the pay for paramedics, which is our priority, and that's what we base our bid award on. When in fact, EMTs from Vintech actually only occupy about 11% on an annual basis of the schedule.
Okay, because there wasn't any recommendation here as to which one that I read. It just said that here's the two things, and it didn't, and I saw that some years one was cheaper than the other, so I didn't know how to base it.
From, at face value, looking at the one page, you're absolutely right, Rose.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing that I kind of mentioned to the Board of Fire Commissioners the other night, to switch on July 1 to a new vendor to this town would be catastrophic.
Okay, then I'd like to make a motion.
Well, wait a minute, I have a question. Is this a 5-year award?
The town bid is typically 3 with an additional
So these
1-year
are-
extensions.
These are extensions that are possible at the, at these values at the choice of the town?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the standardized contract that's been in effect since 2005.
Okay. So let me ask one other question, Chief. If it turned out that the other bidder was less expensive,
Mhm.
but you're saying that if we switch to the other bidder, it would be catastrophic to do so at this late date?
I'm not sure
I
what.
thought that's what you just said. If we wanted to switch
I
for
said
July
if-
1st.
I said if the town had switched, it would be catastrophic. And
Right.
this is the reason. ERM does not provide any service in the South Central Connecticut area, and they have no paramedics that have medical control under New Haven Sponsored Hospital Program.
Yeah, but they're closer. I mean, they don't do any business down here?
They have an office. They don't have this is a one-person operation.
Okay, well, I don't mean to quibble, but,
Yeah.
you know, if they had in fact come in with a more favorable bid, and your judgment is that it would be catastrophic to change, my question would be, why did we wait until this late date to solicit these bids?
This
Because it
goes
kind of
back to
puts
This goes back to the beginning of March. And this is the standardized practice that's been followed.
Well, it seems like it puts it at a disadvantage, but, you know, okay.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion to award RFP number 2, 2018/19 certified EMT and licensed paramedic ambulance personnel to Vintech Management Services LLC of Torrington, Connecticut.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Duty.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni.
Yes.
Counselor Candelora.
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin.
Yes.
Counselor Miller.
Yes,
Counselor Rose.
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Next is bid award number 14, 2017-2018 NFPA 1971 Structural Firefighting Protective Coat and Pants.
I'd like to make a motion to award bid number 14, 2017-18 for NFPA 1971 Structural Firefighting Protective Coats and Pants to Shipman's Fire Equipment Company of Waterford, Connecticut.
Second.
Discussion?
So Chief, can you, I know when we had talked about this, there was the question of the black versus the regular.
That's correct. So at the Board of Fire Commissioners meeting this past week, that was a topic of discussion, and the Board of Fire Commissioners made a recommendation to stay with the gold/tan color.
Okay.
Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Candelora,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose,
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Our next is review of NBIS utilities rates.
Good evening. There was a presentation a few months back that identified the cost per square foot differential between the NBIS electric bill and the high school electric bill, and the hypothesis was that the rates were different, and that if we brought the rates in line to the high school rates, we would save $40,000 a month. So I contacted UI right after that meeting, and you have the bills in front of you. The rates are identical. And what it boils down to, quite honestly, is the inefficiency of NBIS. If you look at the month in question here, which is the month of January, the high school used 37,000 kilowatt hours of electricity. That same month, the middle school burned 109,000 kilowatt hours, 3 times the amount. It's no surprise to anybody, because if you go further into my report, you'll see that in 2012-13, when we first started using the utility management software, we had a EPA rating done, and the brand new middle school scored a 56 out of 100, while the high school scored a 93. So the old girl's got some life in her still. So it's not a rate differential. It's a matter of the inefficiency, both from heating, electricity, in that school, and that's something that we're not going to address here. So I just wanted to put that to bed, that it wasn't a rate issue. We weren't getting, improper rates or bad rates on one school versus the other. It was solely a inefficiency issue with that new school.
Thanks for that good news. Next is revised budget adoption motion.
Okay, so there's 2 reasons we have to do this. One just happened tonight with the allocating the money to the Board of Ed. The second reason is after we finalized the budget last week, the next day we received an email saying that there was a slight error in the numbers that we approved were wrong due to a mathematical calculation. One of the cells on the Excel spreadsheet didn't carry over correctly, so it didn't get into the budget. So we have to redo the budget and the referendum question in order for the town clerk to get everything, the ballots and everything printed up on time in our absentee ballots. So I'd like to make a motion, be it hereby resolved that the North Branford Town Council hereby adopts the proposed operating budget for the 2018-19 fiscal year as amended and recommends the same to the budget referendum at the attached appropriation levels, and be it hereby further resolved that the Treasurer Finance Director is authorized to make any mathematical adjustments that may be required to balance the budget. The numbers are town government operations, $15,403,872. Board of Education, $31,147,175. Capital improvements, $455,000. Debt service, $4,070,376. Fund balance for capital, $400,000. Total appropriations, $51,476,423. Non-tax revenue, $2,691,305. State grants for education, $6,812,173. Fund balance applied, $350,000. Fund balance capital appropriation, $400,000. Fund balance BOE, $149,122. Local elderly tax credit, minus $100,000. Amount to be raised by taxes assuming a 98.5 collection rate, $41,024,701. Total revenues, $51,476,423.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
Well, I voted against it last time, and I'm going to vote against it this time. This reduction in the Board of Ed, I think is impoverishing our students. I look over the material that the Board of Ed gave us in consideration of this budget, and they tell us that the increases that were necessary to get to the status quo budget represent contractual obligations upcoming for existing for administrators, teachers, and nurses, and includes estimates of upcoming contracts for clerical, custodial, and paraprofessionals, so it puts us further behind. I worry about this seriously because, you know, it's going to limit the school curriculum. It's going to limit the life chances down the road of kids to a poorer life. And while I have an enormous capacity for belief, I do not see how this avoids harming the children, so I will not be supporting this yet again.
Roll call?
Mayor Duty.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni.
Yes.
Counselor Candelora.
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
No.
Counselor Fawnin.
No.
Counselor Miller.
No.
Counselor Rose.
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Next item is financial report,
No.
or revised budget referendum question.
I'd like to make a motion in accordance with section C8-5 of the Charter of the Town of North Branford. The Town Council hereby approves the following advisory referendum question for the fiscal year 2018-19 budget. Shall the Town Council recommended budget of $51,476,423, which will require a mill rate of 33.39 mills, be adopted?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Duty.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni.
Yes.
Counselor Candelora.
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin.
Yes.
Counselor Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Rose.
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
And next is financial report, March 31st, 2018.
Financial report you have in front of you remains unremarkable for this fiscal year. Our tax collections, again, slightly ahead of last year, 98.7 compared to 98.6% last year, 90.5. The overall revenue, 92.7% of budget compared to 89.6, slightly ahead of last year. And expenditures are just about on target with last year. Again, as of this point, no departments are over expended, so it's basically unremarkable. If there have been any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next is appropriation transfers.
You have a series of about a half dozen transfers in front of you. The largest being the library transfers, trying to accomplish some things that were not budgeted with some funds that are available this year due to the salary differential and pension differential from the former director to the current director. The rest besides that are just small corrections.
Somebody make a motion?
I'll make a motion that the North Branford Town Council hereby approves the following appropriation transfers as recommended by the town manager and the treasurer finance director.
Second.
I just have a question on, I guess, 3 of the item, well, I guess 2 of them, because they're over the threshold, the $7,500 threshold, the computers and the website redesign. those go out to bid.
The technology equipment, I believe Lawrence Vine River Consortium, they've already done the
Okay.
legwork and narrowed it down. And she has gotten prices on the website design as well. Three items got quotes on the website design.
Yes, I did get 3 written quotes for the website design, which I think they all came under 7,500, which is the threshold for,
And then why is it 9,200 on here? I mean, that's why I'm questioning, is it because it's over 7,500 on this appropriation transfer?
breakdown for that other contractual includes other things, the cost of summer reading program.
Oh, so it's not all website design?
No,
for
that's only
9,200.
6,000. It's $2,700 for summer reading
Okay.
program costs. And
Okay, no problem.
Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Candelora,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose,
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Next is tax refunds.
So moved as presented for a total cost of $15,915.90.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Duty.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Candelora,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose,
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Next is police commission bylaws.
You have a copy in your packet in the folder of proposed police commission bylaws. The police commission has been working on this for a couple months. I think they've worked hard to develop procedures for their officers and for conducting meetings. I think that I would ask you to review it. I'm sure that it has to be checked by our town attorney. I just would like to give you a copy of it now, ask you to look at it, and then have the town attorney check it before it comes back. I think it would probably have to be voted on by the town council like an ordinance. We've really worked diligently on this for a couple of meetings. If you have questions, you can send them to me, and I'll certainly bring them to the police commission meeting in May.
Yeah, I don't know if you need a motion or not. I can certainly give this to, well, David has
I
it.
think it
You can
has to
give
be
Vin.
reviewed first by the town
Once,
attorney.
once David gets it to Vinnie or whatever, or unless you wanna review it, and, just get back to us. So we'll table it to our next meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You want me to make a motion, Mike?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to table these bylaws upon further review by the town attorney.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Candelora,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose,
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.
Yes.
Our next item, citizen statements and petitions.
My name is Lynn Reardon. I live at 33 Drell Farm Road. A motion was made and you voted twice to keep our school's budget flat, which decreases the school budget due to already negotiated contractual obligations that increase both salaries and benefits. A 3.85 increase is needed to maintain current staff and programs. If we don't get that, we can forget all dreams about implementing anything new or attempting to improve what we have already. How is that being competitive? At this point, I'm sure our school administrators and the Board of Ed would be thrilled with status quo. However, I strive to make things better, and I want more, not less, for my daughter Mia. A zero increase, as stated by Joe Fawnin, is unprecedented. Yet the Republican Party spoke to us loud and clear, not once, but twice. I am worried about the impact that this will have on our children and our community. I agree with George Miller when he said you, meaning the Republican Party, are lowering the budget on the backs of our children. North Branford already spends a relatively low amount per pupil on education. Currently, the state of Connecticut average to educate a student is roughly $16,500. North Branford spends $15,500. Branford, Wallingford, Madison, Guilford, all approximately spend $18,000. Comparing 169 towns that make up Connecticut, North Branford is ranked 120. Tell me how that is competitive. Most of our departments in North Branford are in need. Our underfunded school buildings are not the only buildings that are deplorable. What solutions do you have? What is your long-term plan? What will happen next budget and the budget after that? You keep cutting to get a low tax rate without a plan. Mayor Duty, one of the major reasons you voted for a zero increase is because the school student population has dropped. What you failed to mention is that due to the decline in enrollment, the Board of Education is down 23 teachers, 1 administrator, various staff members, and a school that is closed. Not being an educator, you suggested that the Board of Ed reorganize to save money, that they should consider creative placement of administrators. You said you believe the Board of Education should reduce or let go school administrators and non-essential support people. This is your solution? How, sir, are we being competitive? Mr. Rose, you said the Board of Education has plenty of money. If there is an overabundance of funds, why is Mayor Duty suggesting, and why would there be a need to let go of anyone? North Branford received $1.8 million more than from the state than they expected. Why is it that not 1 cent of that money will find its way into the Board of Education budget? I believe you voted in favor of a zero increase to control our administrators and the Board of Education. You might see this as a victory. What I see it is you hurting my daughter. If the Board of Ed is forced to cut administrators, teachers, sports, music, drama, or any other program, that will have a negative effect on all town residents. I and we all should be worried about the youth and the future of North Branford. Idle hands make fretful minds. I will be voting no, budget too low, on May 8th. Thank you.
Liz Hoskins, 43 David Lane. I apologize, some of this will be a little bit redundant, but I'm here tonight because I'm appalled at the Town Council's unprecedented decision to give a $0 increase to the Board of Education. I've been trying to figure out why you would think this is a good idea for our schools in our town for a while now. Some of you cited declining enrollment over the last 10 years. While that's true, you failed to mention that in those 10 years, we've closed a school, let 23 certified staff members go, as well as other positions that have been eliminated. Another reason is that other towns have asked for incredibly low increases this year. Why can't North Branford? Like Westbrook with a 0.58 increase requested, and Branford with a 0.98 increase requested. Well, if we're comparing NB to other towns, let's compare what those towns are spending on their students. Westbrook spends over $7,000 more per student in their town. Branford spends almost $2,500 per student than our town does. Our kids in schools are already so underfunded right now, and the high school is deplorable. I'm not convinced that the 6 board members that voted yes to the $0 increase have really thought about what $1.2 million is going to truly look like in our schools. I'm in the schools a lot, and I'm very aware what this means for our teachers, paras, mental health staff, custodians, extracurricular activities, sports, drama, I can go on and on. It's going to have to be across the board, these cuts. Long after my kids graduate from high school, I'm going to continue standing up here, standing up for our schools, because I know how awesome they are. I know how everybody in those schools is working so hard, wearing numerous hats to cover different shifts and everything. And I'll never understand how cutting funds to education is going to be considered fiscally responsible. Tonight, I'm here for my kids, everybody in this room that has kids, for your grandchildren, for your future grandchildren, and for your colleagues and coworkers. My only hope is that you start to think of them too.
Julie Shadman, 17 Salem Street. I have always been a supporter of public education for my two children. With the $0 increase in the education budget, there will have to be cuts. Parents and children are concerned about what could be removed from their school days, and I have pondered this week all about this and would like to share one perspective. According to the new federal law for public education, music is now highlighted as an integral component of a well-rounded education. Research has shown that music and theater education helps children excel in many other ways. Students often have better SAT scores, they learn discipline, self-confidence, teamwork, and perseverance, all qualities we want in our future leaders and community members. My children enjoy school, they work hard and get good grades, but what gets them up in the morning, what gets them excited each day is music and theater. The dates circled on their calendars are not for the next math test or English assignment, but instead for the drama club productions and music concerts. My children are considering careers in the arts. Can you imagine them applying to colleges with no high school experience because their school system had to cut the arts? Enrollment is decreasing, but do you ever wonder why? Last year, of the 180 graduating 8th graders, approximately 30 students left to go to either private schools or subject-specific schools. Do these schools have better facilities and a greater variety of classes? Maybe, but these parents do not have to fear each year that their child's favorite subjects will be ripped from their schedules. It's decisions like this that will make families consider looking at other school options. How many more students will leave North Branford if something like the arts are cut? Just like with sports, the town loves the accolades that come with champions. The same is true for the arts. Our town has students who have achieved regionals and all-state music recognition. What will happen if our students can no longer compete with other towns? In this town, it feels like the Board of Education and the Town Council are mutually exclusive entities. I believe the Town Council forgets that a quality education is part of our town, and it too should be a priority, considering that a quarter of this town is children, and at least 1/3 are parents. Because of our town's council's short-sightedness and lack of consideration for our children, our town's future, the Board of Ed will have to make life-changing, unfair decisions if the budget does not change. If not the arts, something else equally important to a child. And it won't just be the children who suffer from this decision. A declining school system will hurt the town too, discouraging young families from moving here due to the stagnant nature of this town. Unlike certain town council members, we are not comfortable with this. We care too much about the children.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Town Council. My name is Kimberly Spanier, 15 Olson Road, and I strongly oppose any reduction to the proposed education budget. I oppose the cuts for 3 main reasons. The obvious one is affecting our child's education. Teacher cuts create larger class size and less individual attention. Cuts to school programs such as music, art, and world language programs, including the extracurricular activities such as sports and dramas. These are the programs and activities that help provide our children with a well-rounded education, and quite frankly, it keeps them engaged in structured peer groups, and it keeps them out of trouble. Secondly, I oppose the budget cuts because of the lack of respect, support, and compensation it gives to the teachers and administrators. We should be doing everything in our power to attract and retain top-notch educators. The 1.34% contractual salary increase for our educators is less than the 2% cost of living increase the Social Security Administration has just approved for all of our seniors across the country in December 2017. 1.34% is the least we can do for our teachers. And lastly, I oppose the budget cuts because of the overall negative impact that it's going to have on our town. A well-funded and competitive school system is the cornerstone for any thriving town. A school system is one of the top 3 reasons why a family moves into the town and why a family moves out of town. As we sit here now, the population of our town is shrinking, and instead of feeding into the problem, we need to work to resolve the situation here. If we invest in our school system, we'll attract more families to move into town. And if we can grow the population, we'll attract new businesses into our town, and together we will build a tax base that is bigger than it is now. Now, I understand that you're dealing with a limited pool of funds, which means that we need to we need to prioritize. I am here, and so are all these parents and students. We're asking you to make education a priority here in North Branford. We're done with all the reductions. We want you to consider our children and make them a priority here. Thank you for your time and consideration.
I would just like to clarify a comment made by Mrs. Spanier. The 1.34% increase in the teachers, that is not their increase for the year. That's just the difference between this year's certified salary account and next year. Actually, according to the teacher contract, for the 2017-18 school year, the teachers received a 2.91% general wage increase with no step movement. Next year, they're all having a step movement, which reflects a 3.4% increment cost. So they are not receiving a 1.34% increase. And the COLA, the cost of living adjustment that the senior citizens get, in the last 5 years, the highest percentage that they got was 2%, which is for this year. They had 0% and they had less than 1% in those years. So the 1.34% is not what the teacher increases. So I just want to clarify that that is not their increase for next year.
Hi, my name is Noelle Durkin, 78 Colonial Drive, and I'm speaking about my outrage with the 0% increase for the Board of Education budget. I understand the financial burden that's being placed on all North Branford residents with our tax increases. We all feel it, no matter our age, whether or not we have children in the schools, we all feel the increases with taxes. However, all residents do have a common investment in our homes and the value of our homes. A survey completed by Realtor.com found that 91% of home buyers consider the school district to be a significant influence when purchasing a home. Homes in the best school districts, on average, sell for higher prices than similar homes in less popular school districts. There's a strong demand for new homeowners to live in a good school district. We obviously all know supply and demand, and therefore the demand drives prices higher for products like real estate. We would all reap the benefits of a solid school system that fosters solid home prices. Given an average per pupil cost of about $15,600, North Branford is nearly $2,000 less than the calculated state average per pupil expenditure of $16,592. As people have stated previously, North Branford is actually below all surrounding towns when you think about Regional School District 13, Branford, and Guilford in per pupil expenditures. With the average per pupil costs being comparatively low, you would think that our test scores would fall comparatively low across the board as well, but they do not. The overall district average for the 2017 SBAC ELA test in grades 3 through 8 is at about 60% for North Branford students, which the state average is 54%. 2017 SBAC scores for math in grades 3 through 8 is at 51% for North Branford students, while the state average is 45%. By no means are these average numbers of students meeting expectations commendable. However, it's important to point out that our school system and our school communities, including teachers, administrators, and support staff, are achieving at this level given a bare bones budget for the past however many years it's been. Since I've been concerned about the budget, I feel like it's been that long at least. It's really time to invest in the future of our students by investing in a Board of Education budget. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lily Adito. I live at 9 Claytonville Road. I'm a student at TVES and I love the district. I want to try out for the plays and softball next year, but since there are budget cuts, I may not be able to do that. I also want to try the jazz band. I really hope that my friends and I will have the opportunity to pursue our hobbies, schoolwork, and extracurricular activities in a safe and fun environment. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Kaylee Durkin, and I live at 78 Colonial Drive, North Branford, Connecticut. I am a 5th grader at TVES. I'm here to show support for the Board of Education budget. With the way the budget is, it looks like some teachers and staff will be cut. If the If they cut teachers and staff, there will be more kids in my classroom. In my opinion, I don't think that will be good because my education will suffer. I will not have the support and education that I currently have. The current teachers and staff support me when I am struggling in my academics, and I'm afraid that if these cuts take place, my education will suffer. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope you make the right decision for the children of this town. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mallory Hoskins, 43 David Lane. I am in the 5th grade at TVES. I'm here tonight because I support our awesome school system. I love art class with Miss Mortensen. My teacher, Mr. Rice, is awesome, and I love playing basketball. My mom takes me to the MBIS play every year, and I always enjoy it. I'm looking forward to trying out for the play next year when I'm in 6th grade. I'm hoping that you will reconsider your decision to give our schools a $0 increase for the next year. There are so many cool things going on in our schools. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marley Krebs. I live on 5 Fern Drive in Northford. I'm a student at TVES. I'm here to say that I'm considered about our schools that aren't getting enough money to pay all of our teachers. Some teachers may have to get let go from all the schools, which would leave bigger classes, which would be overwhelming for students and teachers, because the teachers have to give the kids less attention than in previous years. The students would get less time with the teachers because there would be more students in the classes. Some other areas I'm concerned about are extracurricular activities, such as athletics, drama, and student clubs. Next year, I will be in 6th grade at MBIS. I am really looking forward to the opportunity to participate in these extra activities in school. My concern is that these opportunities will not be offered next year. I urge you to listen to my concerns and those of other students, parents, and reconsider providing the necessary fundings our school. And we need to be successful. Thank you for listening.
My name is Courtney Grimes. I live at 25 Woodvale. I'm not like most people in here. I'm a military family. I've lived in 4 different states with 2 special needs children. I chose to buy in this town because I fell in love with the small town feel and how much they care about my children. You talked about special needs in the budget. Well, it's smart, because if you can't provide what my children need in this town, you're gonna have to send them to another town, which means more money out of this town to a neighboring town. My children deserve the special needs care that they should be having. This shouldn't even be a discussion. My boys are special needs and can't voice for themselves. They can't be here like the other students are, saying this is unfair. I am their voice. I am the one who has to fight for them. And you all need to realize that if your children were in my situation, you'd be doing the same thing. You should be ashamed that you are not providing this care for all of these students and all of these teachers and administration that are in this community. We chose to put down roots here. I love this town. I've been here for 1.5 years. Everyone has been welcoming to me, but this is just grace. And if you continue down this path, I'm gonna be forced to lift up my family again and move them to another area for the 7th time in their short life and to another school district. And that's just beyond unfair. I chose to be here because I like this town. I love their teachers. I love how small and how everyone cares for each other and how everyone looks out for each other. But if you continue down this path, I'm gonna have to pick up my children again and move them. And as a military family, it's awful. I've done it so many times, I don't wanna do it again. We finally established care here, we have friends, they're accepted here, it's amazing. I love this town. I wish you would see how great it is here and how much these children need what you're cutting from them. I will say no to the budget when it's on the vote.
Hi, my name is Johanna Krebs. I'm at 5 Fern Drive over in Northford. I moved to North Branford almost 35 years ago as a 5-year-old, moving into a house that we moved into when my daughter turned 5. Why did my parents choose North Branford? Number one was the schools. And this is why my husband and I decided to move back to North Branford over 6 years ago. Our daughter was starting kindergarten, and we knew that she needed to be part of the North Branford school system. Schools make up just a portion of an entire community, but they are a huge portion. Based on just numbers and looking at our population, the school-age students and families that live in this town make up the majority of what's in our school system. Our whole town needs that support from our students and the support that needs to be given to make an entire whole community. Offering whole opportunities for our students to be bigger and better participants in an entire community. That means offering opportunities, programs, and competitive levels of education. I have 2 kids in the school system. One is in 5th grade and one is in kindergarten. Both of my students, both of my kids, fall in the majority of the students that will be affected by not passing an approved budget for their schools. They will be the ones that are lost in the system, the ones that fall behind in grades, and the ones that will not achieve the level of success that North Branford should be on in the map. I will be passing and approving a budget for the Board of Ed only makes our town a bigger and better place and opportunity, and why people continue to come back to North Branford. If you look at our teachers, you look at even just people here in this room, we grew up in this town. We come back to this town for a reason. Have these kids that came back up here to come back to this community to keep thriving and keep it going. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angeloni.
Yes.
Counselor Candelora.
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin.
Yes.
Counselor Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Rose.
Yes.
Counselor Viglione.